Hi, I'm Nick. It's Christmas tree. You're welcome, Uncle Jeff. And this is 10 Minutes with Nick. Welcome. For those of you watching who celebrate, Merry Christmas. For those of you who don't celebrate, still, Merry Christmas. On your holiday of choice, I certainly hope you come up to me and wish me a happy Ramadan, or I don't know that you wish a happy Ramadan, but or a happy Kwanzaa if you celebrate that. I have yet to meet somebody who celebrates Kwanzaa, or at least somebody who's informed me they celebrate Kwanzaa. If you do and you listen to the podcast, would love to hear more about it. I simply know nothing about that holiday. Any Jewish holidays? The thing with the Jewish holidays, a lot of them are more days of remembrance than they are like holidays. They're high holy days, right? So it's a little bit like if we were to walk up to people and say like Happy Feast of Saint X, Y, or Z. Like a lot of those feasts of a saint are technically like we're remembering the day that saint died. Like they died pretty horribly. In most cases. The high holy days, are days for the Jewish people where they're remembering significant events. For example, the Passover. For those of you who don't know what the Passover is all about, it is literally when the Jewish families were passed over by the angel of death, as the angel of death, I believe, and Jewish people, please correct me if I'm wrong, as the angel of death completed the final plague of Egypt and killed the firstborns of all the Egyptian people. Like I'm not going to walk up to somebody and go like, "Oh, happy Passover." Like, hey, it's not a great one. It's not a great one to say happy about. It is a very important day of remembrance, unless you're Egyptian, in which case. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday weekend. We have another holiday coming up, New Year's. We'll talk more about that as we get closer to it. For now, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my holiday and why I think days like this are so important. Days like this are important for no other reason than you get to hang out with the cousins that you don't always see throughout the year. I got to hang out with some of my younger cousins, which is most of them, because I'm smack dab in the middle of some of my cousins, but I also got to hang out with some of my older cousins. So my older cousins have children of their own, resulting in more younger cousins. I got to hang out with them, say hello. And it's one of those things where you get to hang out sometimes with cousins who you don't spend a lot of time with. For example, this time around, I made a stop in and saw, I'm not going to use their names because they're children, but I saw a cousin who I hadn't seen in a while, and he and I, for probably an hour, tossed a football back and forth with each other. It was a very meaningful moment for me because I enjoy tossing a football around as much as the next person. I just don't typically have somebody to toss a football with. So for me, that was a nice little moment, a nice little bonding moment with a cousin who I don't normally get to hang out with and to bond with. And I know my sister had a similar experience with that same cousin's siblings. It was very, very nice. It was good to see them. Hopefully we'll see them again before they leave town. Let's see. Who else did I see? I saw some of my cousins from Florida. That was nice. And again, I don't get to see them a lot. And more importantly, I don't get to see them a lot in one-on-one situations. So it was good to talk, good to get together, and good to chat about life, the universe, and everything. As you maybe can tell, most of my Christmas was oriented around family. And that's typically how my holidays go. I don't typically do a lot of holidays, the specific days at least, where I'm like, I'm going to go out to the bar. I'm going to go get slammed. I'm going to, I don't celebrate like Thanksgiving Eve, for example. Like I don't go out on Thanksgiving Eve and go get slammer-dammer-ding-donged at the bar. It's not a thing I do. I probably used to. I just don't remember because I was slammer-dammer-ding-donged. We have a mixed age group listening to this podcast. So, we're going to leave the stories at that. But I like to do that on holidays. And here's the thing. You say to yourself, I like to do that on holidays. Well, why don't you just do that all the time? And the answer is because life gets busy. Frankly, life just gets busy. I would love nothing more than to see my family's my family, my extended family, my nuclear family, all the time. But life is busy. You can't always do that. And you have to do your life. You have to live your life. Like you have to actually go to work. You have to actually go to, if you're in that age bracket, you have to actually go to school. You have to actually accomplish the things you mean to accomplish. That only puts 24 hours in a day. And a lot of that hourage, if you're me, is filled up with acting. So technically speaking, I could hang out with my family. It would just be make-believe, which would just be silly. But holidays give us a really good excuse to kind of shut down the portions of our life that just sort of keep us just busy. And don't get me wrong, the portions of our life that keep us busy, they're very important. They're all good. We need that as well. But it's also important to shut that down every once in a while and go hang out with your family. If for no other reason than just to talk to other people who aren't in your normal circle. My aunts and uncles, I don't see them as often as I would like to. It's just a fact. I live on the West Coast. They live on the East Coast. It's a big gap. There's miles and miles and miles. And I'm busy. I'm terrible at calling people. I really am. I'm terrible at it. I think I have a voicemail on my phone right now that every day I look at and I go, oh, I need to call them back. And I just haven't. Why? Probably a mix of me being a bad person and me being very disorganized, as you can see by my haircut. I'm getting a haircut this week. It's taken me 2 months to plan ahead for the haircut. It's amazing I get anything done. There's so many things keeping me busy, and you'd think if I was a little bit more organized, those things would keep me a little bit less busy, but here we are. And I say that these things keep me busy, and I say that I don't have any kids. Can you imagine somebody who has kids trying to keep all that busy? Which is why when you get to the holidays again, you get that opportunity to shut everything down and just be with the ones who love you unconditionally. Or at least I hope they love you unconditionally. If your family doesn't love you unconditionally, you can make another family. Side note, unconditional love does not mean that they just, they're not yes men. They're not just yes men to you. They don't just agree with everything you say. It's not a thing. Love has nothing to do with just agreeing with you 100%. Maybe that'll be the topic tomorrow, but that's not a thing. We'll talk about that this week as well, just to sort of get everybody in the right frame of mind for 2024. All 42 people who listen to the podcast in the right frame of mind. And again, I thank you deeply. Anyways, today is just a warm up. This week, we'll probably start tomorrow with our podcast on why unconditional love has nothing to do with unconditional acceptance. That's not going to be a political thing. It's just going to be a statement on both my beliefs, statement on the Christian beliefs, and a statement on just in general why love also includes disagreement. It just does. Sorry. We'll talk about what not to do with your New Year's resolutions towards the end of the week. And in the middle, I'll fill it with my usual nonsense. You know me. I'm very good at filling the air with nonsense. I've done it today. I've told you about almost nothing in particular, and I've made it sound incredibly important. If you enjoyed it, I thank you so much. Please subscribe, like and subscribe to the videos. If you didn't like it, that's okay. Feel free to leave a mean comment. I can take it. I'm told that if you need something to target for a mean comment, I'm told that I have big ears. My hairline is receding, so you can target what I call my 5 head. I wear glasses. That's a classic bullying point to go after. But for all other things, since we're exiting the Christmas season and coming into the new season, let me just say to you and yours, Merry Christmas. I'm Nick. That's a Christmas tree. This is 10 Minutes with Nick.